You're stressed about the Hydra changes, but don't worry, we have some sweet speculation about what the new Hydra meta is going to be like. We got you. Let's go. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing today? I am thrilled and pleased to be joined by my dude Grim. Welcome into the channel, my dude. I'm so pleased to talk about the Hydra changes, with mainly focusing on what we think the new DPS champions are going to be and giving you some ideas immediately on who you can start thinking about on your account. How are you doing today, my dude? What's going on with you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on your channel, MTG. It's an absolute pleasure to be back again.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we did a collab on Faction Wars, right? The last time you were here?
Free-to-play series in January, and talking about our experiences.
Oh,
with the
yeah, the free-to-play one. Yeah, okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's still on the channel, and people tell me that they still watch it, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, today we're talking about new DPS in Hydra, and I thought that would be a great topic for us to discuss because Grim is in the same lane as I am. We're doing takeovers all the time. We're building these teams for people. He's streaming all the time. We're going to be doing a collab on his channel as well. So I'll make sure to have all that information for you so you can go follow him, go subscribe to him. And let's go ahead and jump right in. Who do you think is going to be one of the biggest winners in terms of DPS in the game here? Who do you want to go with as your first pick?
So I'm going to start at number 3. And recently we just done this champion, and a lot of people are going to have this champion with a high level blessing. So my choice on number 3 is actually going to be Thor, because Thor is looking pretty juicy when it comes to numbers. Obviously, you should be building this guy, in my personal opinion, in Merciless, not Slayer, generally because of the A2. This guy has really lot of good utility. He brings his own increased attack, his own increased critical damage, which is fantastic for his kit. AoE decreased speed, which again helps you to do way more damage. And sometimes it can be hard to bring that AoE decreased speed into your team. So, when the DPS is bringing that, it's going to be pretty good. It's also worth noting as well, one of the abilities on his kit, the A3, is actually godlike when it comes to DPS, and then the others are quite strong as well, including the passive, which is like a 3.8 multiplier, which is like super nice. I've done some testing with him, and on my account specifically, with like natural wrath and really top tier merciless gear, just 6-piece merciless is needed. You can get like cooldowns really back, low level cooldowns as well, which is really nice. And obviously a lot of people have him. So if you do have Thor, I reckon this is a really good way to increase your damage and build around him, right? It's also worth noting as well, like you were talking about earlier, which we won't give no spoilers, but that A2 might be quite strong as well, because it registers as single hits, as not as a AoE. So that's where a lot of people go wrong with Thor. And I've seen that even content creators make mistakes with this, and I'm sure we all make mistakes now and again, and it's an easy mistake to make, right? There's not many champions that can do it. I think there's 3 champions that have this type of skill in the game.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. And one of the most important things here is we still think all of the damage dealers that you've been using are still going to be viable. If you've been using Thor, you're still going to be able to use Thor. But I think for all of the reasons that you stated here, those are all reasons to continue to use him. Even if his damage goes down with the new changes, he's still boosting his damage in comparison to what other people are doing. He's boosting himself, and he's bringing that decreased speed. So I definitely think he still has a spot. As an excellent call out. I'm super pumped about using him as well. I've been using him on my account too.
I've been using him. I'm actually building a brutal team around him. And then obviously number 1, I'm building a nightmare team, which we'll get into a bit later in the video.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so my first champion. Who do I want to use first here? I think I just have to do my like number one pick. I just have to do that at the beginning of the video here. And that is going to be Turvold. Now, anything that I'm saying about Turvold, I feel like you can replace with Whisper or any big single target damage dealers. I think that we're about to see a shift and at least in viability of these big single target damage dealers. And the main reason why is because of the change to the exposed necks. If we want them to stay dead longer, using single target damage dealers will really allow us to navigate and direct our damage exactly where we want it to go and keep the exposed necks out there longer, or at least, you know, we can change when we would go and destroy them. And Turvold, I don't know if anybody has used him in Hydra. Have you ever used him in Hydra yet, Grim?
No, but I've always seen content on him, especially in hard, and normally he can do like crazy damage. I think the problem is survivability.
Yes.
It is one. I would add one thing with Turvold. I totally agree with everything you say. I would actually probably build him as slightly different than most people, and taking in mind with the new changes coming into Hydra next week, you're only going to get like I think it's like 500 turns or whatever, 1,000 turns or whatever
turns,
it is.
yeah,
Tapped up. Yep. You might want to actually build him 100% critical rate just so you're taking less turns with him.
That's
and
a
actually
good
just turn
point.
off.
Yes, that's a good
and just
point.
turn off. Yeah, just turn off that ability, because over like 1,000 turns, that's actually a lot of damage you're probably losing on him.
Yeah.
So it depends on your gear. I mean, that's definitely worth testing to see if he gets more damage with the buff or if he gets more damage without the buff. Especially if you already bring in increased speed and increased attack as well, then critical rates. It's not too hard for
if
in-game
you can
players to
bring these
build.
buffs on other champions, then you don't need to use that. That's a great call out in terms of like making sure we're maximizing those 1,000 turns.
Yeah.
But this guy was actually in the first team that I ever got 1 billion damage on any mode in Hydra was using Turvold. And then after that, I got other DPS champions and I moved on from him. Now I think it's time to circle back around and just start one-shotting heads with this A3. So that's my first pick here. What would you like to go with for your second pick, sir?
Number 2, I think it's actually just pretty. I think it would be not doing him justice if we don't talk about him. I think Teox.
Okay, awesome.
I think Teox is going to be one of the. Well, he is one of the best DPS already, right? I think we're going to see more people swipe in and tap in maybe to try and get this guy now. Even that, it's probably like the best champion Unity. It's great in Arena. There's a couple of strats. I think you did one yourself, right, with Calvalax.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of viability with him, and he's got great multipliers as well. He's got two strong and 1 god tier, and again he brings his self buffs on him, so like the increased attack, etc. Like when you bring in self buff champions for Hydra, that basically saves your role of trying to bring an increased attack champion or someone that brings an increased attack. So, you know, it's a shame it's not AoE, you know, if we want to be greedy. But that's just one way I kind of look at it as, right? And his damage is insane. So there's no denying, like, his resurgence definitely going to be popping up. You can see a lot of people run 2 or 3 of him probably in the same team, which, again, will be kind of interesting to see.
You know what I do, actually? I am lucky enough and blessed enough to have 2 copies of him, and I found it was better to just run them in separate teams. But even if you run them in the same team, it's still tons of damage. And he also gives you the option of whether you want to go A1 only and focus on that single target damage, or you want to put a bunch of lizards in the team and focus on the AoE damage, and you'll have both of those as a flexible option with him. So I love that as a call out. You know, he's probably, I don't know, at least one of, if not, you know, one of the best damage dealers right now. And with Trunda coming down in power level, I think that's a perfect call out to say that he's going to step up, you know.
I think he's top 3. If I remember correctly, he's top 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Great idea there. The next thing that I want to call out is sort of a generalization, but I'm also going to give a specific champion as well. And that is going to be our ally attack champions. And I'm going to specifically say Lana Tharl here. But yeah, Lana Tharl, he adds survivability to your team with this shield. So even if you don't have another shield champion in your team, he can take that spot. If you don't have another ally attack champion on your roster, he can fill that role. He pulls in this idea of single target damage with the ally attack. He gives you that increased crit damage, so he could even pair well with some of these strong A1 champions that we've already mentioned. What do you think about the ally attack champion idea, my dude?
I always bring, if I can bring ally attack into my teams, I always bring ally attack. I actually have a +2 on him. I did his fusion, and he's a solid champion, honestly. Like, he's a bit underrated when we're talking about this one, but there is plenty of ally attacks in the game, even epics that are quite strong. And I think, like, self buffs, like critical damage, really, then you can really focus on, like, attack or defense, and then kind of boost everyone up with that defense, with the critical damage buff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, solid call. I always try and use ally attacks all the time for myself, and I think it's more of a bonus role depending on the style account. I think it's quite easy to do it in games. I think it's a bit harder when you're like late game or mid game accounts because you don't have max great haul, etc. But yeah, I mean, ally attacks in general are very, very strong, and he's probably like top 4, right? Legendary. I'd probably say like Podri and Carnage are probably slightly stronger, and then to be honest, he does bring a damage boost as well, right? With the passive, if I'm not mistaken.
20 more, only if they have the shield. So I don't know if that counts if for the life barrier or not. But yeah,
it would be interesting to test that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, sweet. And then this is like a good option if you don't have the, your Mikage fuse, etc., etc. But okay, moving on. Who would you like to call out as your next champion coming into our
this guy's appeared on my channel a lot. So if anyone's watched my channel, you probably about know who I'm going to call out.
Okay.
And everyone can access this champion. It takes a long grind, don't get me wrong, and the content is extremely difficult and not enjoyable. But it's something I do specialize in myself, and that's going to be Carnage, right? We all guarantee to get a 6-star blessing at some point. It's basically random drops of the chests. So, for example, I've cleared every rotation of Curse City. I've only missed one rotation, which was the first one. And I have a +4. And I've missed him, I think, twice from the chest. So it's a shame not to have that, but Crushing Rem in general is super OP. I've done testing with Carnage to kind of see what's the better blessing, and like Natural Wrath, for example, doesn't work on his second form. And if you're going to use him in Hydra,
weird.
just...
Do you know why? Do you know why it doesn't work?
It's because he's not putting out like the debuffs on himself. So it's the second form that you're focusing on, because that's the one that's got the insane multipliers. So on his second form, he actually has God tier multipliers across the board. Even his first form has 2 godlike multipliers. He can be good in the right live arena with the right setup as well. Stone Skin kind of hurts him and being squishy. You definitely do need that level 3 blessing to kind of make him alive, to keep him alive without a reviver, which is generally what most of us try and do now. His multipliers are like, basically his A1 is like a 2.1 for a single hit, so it's very high. I've seen his A1 hit like 2 million with like the defense down, the weaken,
and
that's from that's from the counter attack.
Wow.
He's A3 and his A2 can hit for roughly 5 to 10 million on Nightmare.
Wow.
That's without 6-star Christian Rem. So at the moment I run cruelty. But I think with Crushing Ram is definitely going to do way more damage, and the extra speed and accuracy is going to be super useful as passive. I think this guy gets a lot of slack because, like, just for people who got him at the moment have better champions. Like, they're running the Trunder teams, they're running the Wixwell comms.
All
and
the
he
other
doesn't
mythicals. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So out of all the mythicals, I think there's only one mythical that hits harder than him. Which is going to be, is it Toshia or whatever his name is? That's it. Yeah, you pulled him recently, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I haven't done a video on Toshia yet, but I'm planning to do a damage comparison to the two.
Okay.
And it's going to probably drop in next probably 2 weeks or a week when I get around to recording it.
We just need to make sure that they're subscribed to your channel so that they can see whenever you post that video. That's probably the best thing to do.
The best bit about it, everyone can access his champion.
Yes. I literally just got him. So this is great information for me. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with him. I was mad on the day that I got him, so I didn't he kind of flew under the radar that I got him. So perfect timing.
I think it's because Marius came out around about the same time. Yeah. And everyone was focused on Marius, and Marius is better for live arena content. But I think with the right strategy, especially with what I use him with for live arena, he hits like a truck. The problem is Stone Skin, right? Yeah. You have to go fast. You have to break Stone Skin. If you have a way to break Stone Skin, like for example, you have Gizmak, right? Yeah. Gizmak, Dark Smiles, who else? Marius, all can break Stone Skin really consistently. So, you put him behind, he can lock him out. The A1. If you're going to use him for Hydra, just book as a second form. Okay. And save the books. But if you're going to use him for Arena as well, depending on your roster, then you can book out the first form first. So depending on what you want to use him in. He's quite strong with pinpoint as well now. Anyway, I won't go into it too much with Arena side because it's Hydra focus, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, really one last thing on the arena side that I didn't even know. I mean, he has an insane speed aura for arena. I mean, I know we're focused on Hydra, but I'm sure that I lost fights against him in arena because I didn't know about this aura. So that's very pertinent. But yeah, great call out with Carnage as well. I think let's just give some generalized encouragement for Curse City. If you're just doing as much as you can do there or as much as you care to do, you'll get him eventually. I mean, it took me 9 months or 10 months or whatever to get mine. And I missed so many keys on getting him. So stick with it. You'll get him too. That's a way to earn a free mythical champion. So
yeah, I mean, you're not going to get many mythicals in this game. So you need to take advantage of it where you can.
Yeah.
And he's not as bad as people make sense. I think actually, have you heard of a streamer called Jacob?
Yes.
He's Jacob uses him all the time in live arena.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, in Gold 4. He got me quite badly with it.
Nice. Hopefully I'll join you at some point in Gold 4, but we'll see. All right, so we got one more champion here, and then we'll wrap it up. I would love to finish with a Skinwalker, and one that I used originally when we did the Hydra draft, and one that I think is about to make a comeback, and that is Teumesia. This lady is wonderful for Hydra. She does so many things, it's incredible. And frequently in takeovers, I see her in the vault. She is a Void Legendary. Okay, I get that. But this is somebody that a lot of people don't give credit to. And even if you don't have her, just remember that the HP burn is still one of the best ways to do damage in Hydra, no matter what changes that they make, okay? And she brings a decreased speed with her HP burn, which is really good. But the second reason why I wanted to call her out was for this single target hit. This single target hit is an extremely hard-hitting attack, and that will allow you, the same as a Turvold type of an ability, to direct your damage exactly where you want to go. You want to finish a head off? Good. Go blow it up. You want to bring somebody back? go free them, you're going to need strong single target damage hits in order to free the champions because they have that bigger shield, right? Whenever they're eaten. And then if you have her up in the turn order, she can place decreased defense on the A1 on an ally attack or on a counter attack. So what do you think? Have you used Teumesia at all in Hydra? What do you think about this idea?
I've used her a few times, actually, especially like the counts where Poison Cloud's been a bit of an issue. Because like even with Block Boss, if you're trying to run auto teams, it can be a bit of a problem. And there's not many champions who can put HE burn when Poison Cloud's on. And she is definitely one of a few of them. I think there's only 3 champions, right? I think Geo, Alderscar, and her. And Alderscar takes a bit of setting up.
Yeah.
Right, you need to set up a certain amount of buffs to spread Alderscar.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a lot better champion. I really like her with like Krisk. Yeah. I personally don't, and like decreased speed as well would be really key on the Devour. The HE burn will also bring additional damage as well. And she can hit like a truck. Yeah. Like she hits extremely hard, and I think she could be used in other content like Spider. Yeah. I think I've seen her in.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's definitely a lot of utility. When you're investing in DPS, she's got a lot of areas where she can work as well.
Yeah. One last thing about her, and then we'll get to our final thoughts here. If there are HP burns on any other heads, she's immune to the fear. She can't be feared. And that is so huge if you're trying to not run dedicated champions like Shamail or Perfect Veil. She just doesn't get feared. And that's a really big asset, I think.
Yeah. I mean, generally when you're trying to use fear for myself, it's annoying, right? Trying to take in the Duchess, which lowers your damage, or the Shamail, who doesn't do like crazy damage, and once you lose that fear head, you lose utility.
Yeah.
So if you can try and bring champions that can counter this, like cleansers, etc., that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Like imagine her being very strong with Lady M, right? Where the mythical, everyone can get. Especially with that A1 which you mentioned, which I think is a bit underrated when people forget about like the A1s on champions, especially when your defense down is on cooldown and you're in the middle of a run and you got the Devour. I mean, that's such a pain when it happens, especially later on in your runs. So it can allow you to do more damage as well. What's the perfect set would you build her in?
I think I'd still like to see her in Merciless or Savage, one of the defense ignoring sets.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon like the 9-piece Merciless would be absolutely insane on it.
Oh yeah. It'd be sweet.
Even
so you could like cycle
even
through.
6-piece,
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, what other final thoughts do you have here? Thank you so much for coming on the channel. What do you think is going to happen going forward with Hydra? Any final thoughts, whatever you want to add in?
I mean, I guess with Hydra, there is a lot of people that are upset, and they are for sure should be upset. I think that Plarium let this, especially with Trunda, happen way too long. And hopefully there's going to be some compensation for players that run these things, because it's extremely expensive. I have asked in Content Creator Chat to kind of get there, so I'm hoping to get a answer to a few of my community as well that have asked me about this already.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have answers soon, because there definitely should be something, like even like a free regear, because if you're going to regear 3 teams.
Yeah.
And then I think that helps take the pain away a little bit.
Yeah.
But generally, player will have to act faster. However, on the bright side, and it is important to end on the bright side, you're going to be running your Hydra teams way less. You're actually going to be building teams, which a lot of us enjoy. Yes. I personally hated running the Wake Swap because so much RNG, and it's boring.
Yeah. Same and thing now with the I have to, team.
Yeah. And I'm actually really looking forward to sitting there now and think, okay, who can I bring in to increase my damage?
Yeah.
Like, and that's going to be so much key, like building teams, it's great for content creators as well because we're going to be building teams all the time now.
Yep.
And we've actually got a reason to do it. So
yeah, and I think this leaves room for innovation. Like I think we're going to discover new things and bring those and show them to the community. Whereas before we were stuck with just those two teams at the top.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a power creep. It doesn't matter what player room do. There's going to be a power creep. I mean, there's definitely champions like Quintus that I think will come to the top now, which will be the live arena champion. He hits extremely hard on the A1. Ronda as well, Taurus Marishka. I think you might see double Yumiko and Taurus so often now, and I really hope it don't.
Yeah, we could. I hope not as well.
Yeah, I really hope they don't. Yumiko needs to be changed on that ability.
I wish they would have taken this time to do that, but
yeah,
we'll see. I'm excited to try out the changes. We are going to have test server access, so I know I'll have some firsthand information as soon as they let us post the stuff from the test server. So look forward to that. We'll have some firsthand stuff before it gets released in game. And otherwisely so, make sure you guys head over to Grimm's channel. Go watch our video over there. We're going to go record that. And thank you so much for being here, my dude.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, that'll do it. Have a good day. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.